Hello friends, we're going to be doing a Q&A session about questions regarding the basic, intermediate, deep Buddhism. So I have questions about Buddhism now, so we'll go for that. Okay, so the first question?
It's about the 5 aggregates.
Oh, it's about 5 aggregates, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't quite get them. Everything that exists consists of the 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what it means is, Buddha says that we make up of 5 aggregates. So we are a combination of 5 aggregates. So how do we look into that? The first aggregate is called Rupa. That's called form. The second aggregate is called Vedana. It's about feelings, any feelings. Third aggregate is called Sanya. It's called perceptions. And then the fourth aggregate is called Sankhara. Sankhara means formations or karma. And then the fifth aggregate is called consciousness. Now Buddha says we cannot ultimately call us, there are 2 truths, as I told you the other week, conventional truth and the ultimate truth. So conventionally speaking, we cannot say that there is no I, me, myself and there is 5 aggregate. So I exist, like in the conventional truth, XYZ exists. But when it comes to ultimate truth, there's no I, me, myself. It's just a combination of 5 aggregates. So let's say if you don't have form is a physical form, and then what do you call the second aggregate is called Vedana. So we are having feelings. We have feelings all the time, and then perceptions mean the noticing, right? We always notice things based on our previous experiences. So let's say I'm looking at this small bench, and then I'm looking at this bench based on my previous experiences, right? Mostly. It's rather difficult, rather less likely I'm having a thought about this bench from a very individual distinct understanding. I always go back to my past and then try to look at this bench with that past memory. So it's like noticing. So we have that thing. It's mental. So the first thing is physical. The rest of the 4 are mental. So the second one is feeling. It's kind of a thing. You mentally you feel it, and then what do you call the third one? Perception, Sanya. And Sankhara means formations. What are the Sankharas? Sankhara basically means the experiences you make up, the good, bad and neutral. Let's say based on your Rupa, Vedana, feelings and perceptions, you make karma, right? So you intentional, then they become intentional, and then you make karma. So those Sankharas. But in that context, there are a few couple meanings. One is Sankhara. The other one is actually there are different Sankharas too inside the body. And the fifth one is consciousness. It's the consciousness that we say when we die, it will go into a next life and then another life until you attain Nibbana. So these are the 5 main things that make up us. Any being, it could be an animal, it could be a man, it could be human, so something like that.
Okay. And I also wanted to know the difference between samsara and nirvana.
Okay. So the difference between samsara and nirvana. Okay. Now we cannot talk about nirvana. That means awakening, or the goal of the Buddhist teachings, without samsara, because if we have not attained Nibbana, that means we are still in samsara. if we have attained Nibbana, that means we have ended samsara. So samsara means the infinite number of lives that we've been born and we're going to be reborn until we attain Nibbana. So samsara and Nibbana. So that's how we can see it.
Okay.
So there is no samsara without Nibbana, no Nibbana without samsara. It's like mutually, seeing two things.
You need one to have the other one.
No, I mean you can feel that you need to attain Nibbana because you've been in samsara.
I get it.
So when you attain Nibbana, you don't need to think about samsara. I have done my samsara. I have finished my samsara. Something like that.
Okay, like you break this.
You break this, yes, the cycle of samsara, and then that's where Nibbana. So like it's a circle or cycle, and then you are going on 12 things that we call causality. We can talk about it later. So when you go one by one, or like go on that circular way, and then you get to feel that you are in samsara. So when you attain Nibbana, you break it. You break that cycle of becoming or rebirth.
Yes. Okay. So what determines your samsara is your karma.
Yeah, because we are in the samsara because we have to experience past karma or this karma, right? So experiencing karma means that you are in samsara. Yeah.
Okay. So I got another question.
Yeah. Take your time.
Oh yes, I wanted you to explain to me the three bodies of Buddha.
Three bodies of the Buddha.
Yes.
Uddesika, Pariharika,
Yes, I saw it. So
Saririka.
yes.
Okay. So, to my understanding, I think the Pariharika Bodhi is the Bodhi tree, the one that that helped Buddha to become Buddha, right? So he was supported by the Bodhi tree because he was able to concentrate and then to keep that practice. So that's called Saririka, how do you call it? Chaitya, right? And then Uddesika and Paribhogika. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Saririka means his relics actually.
Okay.
His relics. Pariharika is what we call the Bodhi tree. And Uddesika is the thing that we call pagodas. So we, let's say maybe a Buddha statue. Buddha statue is something that is made to respect on behalf of the Buddha. So Saririka is his relics, and Pariharika means whatever the things that he used, like Bodhi tree, and Uddesika means Buddha statue. So somebody makes a Buddha statue, then we know that it represents the Buddha. So three, yeah.
I think that's all the question I have. Of course, we talked about the fourth noble truths the last time. We also talked about the 5 precepts last time. Okay, so you answer all my questions for today.
Okay. But the Eightfold Noble Path?
Yes, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yes. Where is it? Yes, I wanted to know more about. I know in the Four Noble Truths, the fourth one says there is a way to end suffering, and the way to end suffering is the Noble Eightfold Path.
Yeah.
And
so there is dissatisfaction.
yes.
There is the cause of dissatisfaction, and there is the ending of dissatisfaction, and there is the path leading to the ending of dissatisfaction. The path is the Eightfold Noble Path. So then you want to know.
Yeah, sometimes we read it, but how do we experience that in everyday life?
Okay, that's That's a good question. I think this path leads one to attain Nibbana. So the precise exact path is basically how do I call? Now this precise exact path is more suitable for a monastic.
Okay. Yeah.
Because after some part of this path, it always talks about some monastic type of things, but it has something to think about for our lay life too, your lay life too. Let's say samadhiti is the how do you call wholesome view, right? So we need wholesome view because we always get stuck. We always make fight with our views with other people, right? So we think that our view is better than the other one's view. So then that is how views in the secular life matters. So then this wholesome view is about 10 things. So we can discuss those 10 later. I can just mention few. Let's say one has to believe that we have karma, so everything that you do intentionally produce karma. And then so there are 10 things. So there are your parents, you have to believe in your parents, so they nurtured you. So there are 10. So if your wholesome view is based on these 10 things, including those 2 that I said, that's called a wholesome view, samadhiti. So samma sankappa. The second one is wholesome thoughts, sankappa. So what are the wholesome thoughts? There are 3 wholesome thoughts: avyapada, avihimsa, nekkhamma. Avyapada is thoughts that are about not killing other people, other beings. So sometimes we may not do bad things like killing, but perhaps we might get stuck with thoughts of killing other people, right? So thoughts of not killing other beings, any being. Avyapada. Avihimsa means thoughts of not harassing other beings, at least to bully other people, put people down. So so those stuff. So not having thoughts like that. The third wholesome thought is thoughts that are about letting go or renunciation. So all the time we have thoughts of hoarding, possessing, belonging, how much money we can make tomorrow. I mean, it's okay, but when someone keeps developing this mentality without a limit or a moderation, they will be into a kind of a mentality that they are into a lot of material stuff, right? Hoarding, right? So then Buddha says you need to earn things, money and everything, to an extent that you think you are happy, but that happiness should be something that you are not over greedy about, right? Excessively greedy, right? So then what it means is that while we are earning and then possessing stuff that we think is good, in moderation, we need to keep in mind that the better thoughts come from the opposite. The opposite is letting go and renouncing. So those are the 3 wholesome thoughts. Thoughts of not killing, thoughts of not harassing, thoughts of letting go or renouncing. Samma sankappa, wholesome thoughts. And samma vacha. Samma vacha means wholesome speech. So that means there is unwholesome speech as well. So if someone can speak the words that are not into lying, talking behind the back, hurtful words, and not being a gossiper or a idle chatter, so those are the wholesome words. So that's the wholesome speech. So one has to I think these are practical, right? Practical and pragmatic, so one can do. So the first thing, samadhiti, wholesome view, samma sankappa, wholesome thoughts, and a wholesome speech. And then samma kammanta. Samma kammanta means wholesome action. So wholesome action means So the first three precepts that we saw in the 5 precepts: not killing, not stealing, and not misbehaving. In particular, not misbehaving means it's like someone is already married and then that person does not wish something from outside, vice versa. So that's the main thing. But in addition to that, there are things like you are going beyond your limits. It could be food, it could be stuff like you enjoy. We should have a moderation at all times, right? So those are the 3 things that would make you a person called person of wholesome action, right? And then Samma Ajiva, that means wholesome living, actually. Wholesome living means a living, that means the way how we spend the life, a life that is spent with the best qualities. Like the best qualities in that context means not being a hypocrite. Like sometimes there are people who swindle other people, who cheat on other people, right? Maybe they are with corporate greed, but personally and commercially, one should not deceive, one should not swindle other people. So let's say you work in a place that wherein you understand that you are cheating the customers, clients, something like that. Your living should be based on non-cheating, non-swindling, something like that. So that's very important. So I think that is also practical, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, if you can, but sometimes it's not practical to some. They don't have other job to work, so this is the only job. They know that they are deceiving other people, but there are things like that too. But if you can really know how I can find my path, this is the work that I'm gonna do. I know that is based on non-deceiving, cheating. So that's way better than those other things. Samajiva. Samavayam, it's very important. Samavayam, that means wholesome effort. So what is the wholesome effort in the Buddhist teachings? It is fourfold, right? There are 4 things that one has to understand how one can practice wholesome effort. The first part of the wholesome effort is one has to develop the existing wholesome activities one already possesses. For example, I would say someone does not backbite, or someone does not talk behind the back, so it's a good quality. So then one needs to develop this quality, this virtue in the future or over time from now onwards, right? So if you have already good qualities, you need to develop them to a further level or to the next stage. It could be different. Sometimes we've been practicing something good in the past and we come to understand that we need to sort of figure out different ways of practicing this better. That's the first. So one has to put effort to develop the existing good qualities one has. That's the first part of the wholesome effort. The second part is one has to find out, put effort, whether I don't have good qualities that my friends or other people that I associate, that I keep company, has or have. Let's say let's say someone idle chats, but that person comes to understand someone who he met does not idle chat, so he thinks that he needs to get influence and wanna practice it. So good qualities one doesn't have, need to be started and practice. That's the second. So one has to put effort for that. The third thing is about the same aspects on the side of the unwholesome activities. Let's say I already have some unwholesome activities, so I need to reduce, overcome them, reduce, and I need to put effort to that. And then if I don't have some unwholesome activities but my friends or other people have, I don't want them to happen in me. I want to put effort for that. So that's called wholesome effort, samma vayama. And then samma sati, that means wholesome mindfulness. So that means there is unwholesome mindfulness as well. So there are people who want to get concentrated, who want to get mindful to put people down. There are people like that. So I want to be, how can I put that person down? I want to plan that thing. I want to be strategic. So that means there is an unwholesome mindfulness too. Buddha says, no, your mindfulness should be based on virtues, good things, and not to put people down, not to do harm to other people. That's called wholesome mindfulness. The last one is called samma samadhi, wholesome concentration. So concentration also has the opposite. Some people want to concentrate them to do harm to other people. Let's say they plan really well because they want to do something bad. Buddha says, no, you need to concentrate yourself based on the wholesome thoughts, wholesome speech, wholesome bodily actions. So looks like, on the surface it can be practiced, this whole path can be practiced by a layperson too. But there are few things under wholesome living that are really focused on the monastics. But I don't think it's a problem. So in short, I can say every layperson can practice these 8 in their capacity.
Yes.
Whether they go to Nibbana or not, but it's the best way, the most way one can practice, one can live their life. Yeah. So that's the path in the Buddhist teachings.
Thank you. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was my question for today. Yes.
Okay. Well, as we discussed, we can talk about one more thing, and then we can actually stop the live after. Okay. Were you able to take a look at the questions?
At the back?
Well, the book has questions all across.
No, I haven't.
What about karma?
Yeah.
That's a good topic, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what are the questions that you have about karma?
The thing I understand about karma is good actions. You need to live well and have good action. And also, karma is the thing that you transport with you when you leave this world. You go with karma. I think we spoke.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, last week. That karma goes with you.
Yeah.
So it's very important to have a good karma. Yes.
Okay. So basically speaking, karma to the Buddhist perspective means any intentional activity. So if you are intentional by speech, by thought, by action, that produces a karma. Because karma, the concept of karma comes from Hinduism, right? But in the Buddhist teachings, in Theravada Buddhist teachings, it's a bit different. So it is called the intentional nature of the action, of the word, of the thought. But it's very tricky. So there is a high chance that people can misuse this way of looking at it. Let's say someone does a bad thing, and then when he or she was questioned, he or she might say, I was not intentional.
Okay.
Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit tricky thing. So, because Buddhism is a teaching that always teaches us to be true to oneself, and then you know what you've been doing, what you are gonna do, right? What you have done before. So we have to be really truthful to us about the nature of our mind throughout the particular activity, right? So to the Buddha says, if you are intentional in your action, in your thought, in your speech, and then you are producing a karma. That karma is the karma that we are adding into our consciousness, and which will go with you when you die one day. And there are the karmas that we have done in the past, in the number of lives in the past that we've been experiencing now. But keep in mind, karma is not the only thing that affects or that has affected, that will be affecting us in our life. That's a good point.
Okay.
Buddha says, experiences, things that we experience now, they do not come totally from karma. Only 1/4 of them make up karma. Okay, so then there are the 4. So which we call universal laws. There are 5 universal laws. The first one is called seasonal effects. So if you notice changes in the nature, maybe a disaster, and you can't say that it's a karma, and you can't say it's a karma that somebody is stuck with a natural disaster. You can't put that incident just from karma. It's just a natural, this universal thing.
Sometimes we do that. We think that it's because of karma.
No.
Okay.
No. But there is something I want to add at the end. Second, bija, which you call the bija law. Bija means a germination. If you take a look at a tree or a plant, sprouts, leaves, flowers, and all these things, what causes all these things to work together? There's no karma associated with that. It's just the law of the germination. You know what germination means, right?
Yes.
It's the law of the
plant to grow.
Plant to grow.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with karma.
Okay.
Right? It's the law of the germination.
Okay.
And the third one is called to bija karma. Karma is the third law is karma. What we just talked about, right? So whatever the karma you've been doing in the future or now or the future, they will affect you, right? The fourth law is called chitta. Chitta means whatever happens in your mind, which you call thoughts, mental factors, which you can learn in the future. They have nothing to do with karma, because you got a new life.
Yes.
Karma can affect you, but if you say your whole thinking, whole mind, and the related are all the time controlled by the karma, that's not true.
Oh.
You always have a choice to decide something, right? So it's pure there. So then it has no connection with karma.
Okay.
It could be sometimes, but mostly it's independent.
Okay.
But unfortunately, people call their mind and everything, they are already affected by karma.
Okay.
But not 100% though. To some extent, it could be to some extent. So that's called karma, chitta law. And the last one is called Dhamma law. What is Dhamma? Dhamma in this context means different meaning. You know the word Dhamma has multiple meanings?
No.
Okay. There's a PhD done by a scholar about the multiple meanings of Dhamma. One meaning is teaching.
Yes.
When you say Dhamma of the Jesus Christ, teachings of the Jesus Christ. Dhamma of Hinduism, teaching of the Hinduism. Dhamma of the Buddha, teachings of the Buddha. So it's called teaching. One meaning. Second meaning is about the true nature. Let's say this table, I would say, what's the true nature of this table? What's the Dhamma of this nature? Okay, I mean, it is made of 4 elements, and then one day it will, it will not be like this. It is supposed to, to undergo a process, go through a process which we call the destruction, right? So Dhamma is the real. So what is the Dhamma of our life? Okay, we were born, we live for a while, we may get sick, sometimes, and we will die, and we will be reborn. We will again get sick, we will age, we will die. Nature. So that is that having anything with karma? No, that's the nature. Yeah, that's the true nature. True nature. So here that means a true nature. So true nature you can't put it to karma. So, but the thing is, how we can specifically know this is from karma, this is from that, this is from that. We can't know that unless you are someone like Buddha. Sometimes multiple laws affect. Let's say someone dies from a tsunami, and we can call it is just the first law. Maybe it's a mixture of 2-3 laws. So that thing will only be known by someone like an awakened person who has already gone to Nibbana. But overall, what I can say is that karma predominates these all. So then that's something to learn actually.
Yes. Oh, that was a good learning.
Yeah. So karma is in one context, it's what is happening. In one context, it is what will go into the next life. And on the other hand, there's something very interesting. It's about how we can, is it possible to neutralize, weaken our past bad karma? That's a good question. Let's say I don't know what karma I have done in the past, but I think maybe I have done bad karma. Is there a way I can overcome, I can weaken, mitigate, neutralize those bad karma? Yes. How we can do it? We're going to do a lot of good karma all the time. 10 skillful activities, kusala, we're going to do, so that can weaken, neutralize the old, maybe the strength, that big strength of the previous bad karma. Maybe we will not be able to, kind of like end them permanently, but we will neutralize. Sometimes neutralizing is something like, at least we can go through it without problems.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yes. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Any more questions about karma, or we can go into our usual? Okay.
Thank you for
no problem.
teaching on karma.
Yeah.
I understand now.